morning, Facebook. How are you? I'm here in Chicago still, and I'm actually teaching, well, I'm starting yesterday, my third week here at Viva Prana, where I'm teaching for the month of July. Loving it here. While I'm here, I'm going through in our Bowstring system each week one of the subsystems of the body. So I've already gone through radiant heart, and then last week we worked on wings. So a week ago I posted a video about that expansion of radiant heart and the necessity of pushing from the inside out. And then this week I'm starting to work into the roots, the legs, the hips, the pelvis. And I'm going to do a couple of videos on that probably this week, but before I move on from the heart and the wings, I wanted to talk about one of the most proliferated cues in the yoga industry, which I titled this video called Inhale Arms Up. And if you've ever gone to a yoga class, probably more of a vinyasa style or a power flow class, that is one of the most used cues, and it's probably one of the first things you'll hear in a class. Inhale, arms up, exhale, fold. And it gets you into that rhythm of more cardio, more rhythmic movement. That's where the vinyasa practice has proliferated across the world. It's been a really, really popular style of movement. And it can be very beneficial, but one of the things that movement, inhale, arms up, is, I think one of the most important movements that we can do is because it allows the lift of the trunk and range of motion in the shoulders. When I teach, I like to tell students all the time that I'm teaching to your 80-year-old body, right? So really thinking about that, how you're going to hold this spine for many, many decades to come. And I want you to be able to put your shirt over your head when you're that old, so you're not rounding and collapsing. So this inhale, arms up movement, as you put yourself in a position to raise up, to reach from the core of your body, you want to make sure that you're plugged in, that you're tapped in. A lot of times I see students, and this is more towards the end of my vinyasa days, where we would get into this sort of traditional Tadasana position, but the chest would still be collapsed, right? There would still be a droppingness for some students. And so inhale, arms up can actually put a lot of pressure on the deltoid, especially if you're collapsing, but then you're forcing your arms to be more upright. It can put a lot of pressure on the front of the deltoid. Now, there's a lot of teachers out there who are really going to help explain alignment and give you good perspective on what's healthy range of motion. But what I just want to bring you to the awareness of today is that a lot of classes, they're not going to give you this detail. And you're going to move so fast through those ranges of motions that you're not even going to have sensitivity to know what's going on over and over and over again, which could eventually create a repetitive stress injury. And think about it. If my chest isn't collapsed, and I'm going like this over and over and over again, what's going to wear out? My joint, right? So that's one thing that can happen, is that the front of the shoulder can overwear and put a lot of pressure on the joint itself. Another thing that can happen, and this is really interesting to me because I think it's a lot of where people get a little bit misunderstood as far as the bowstring alignment goes, is that you can push yourself into a sway back. You can actually shear your lumbar and your rib cage into an over hyperlordotic curve just by lifting your arms up over your head. If you have a lot of flexibility or hypermobility rather in your spine and even in your hips and shoulders, inhale, arms up can push you into a sway back position where you have no support in the back body and you're actually just pushing the thoracic curve out. And we really want to keep that undulation in the spine, that double S curve. That's what we teach in Bowstring for maximum buoyancy, for strong, efficient movement, and for not shearing or overworking any one part of your spine. So I really think that as you move into these classes, you can take some of these principles that don't have to just be Bowstring, but knowing that as we move into this modern day, we've really got to be honest about what we're doing over and over and over and over again, and thinking that we're going to be getting different results. I think you might know that as the definition of insanity. If you have any shoulder issues going on or any low back issues going on, I ask you to look a little bit more discerningly at what that one movement does to your whole system, and how if you're just moving arms, it might not be doing the best thing for you. So here's what I encourage. Bowstring, vinyasa, hatha yoga, or just saying good morning to the day. One of the most underrated movements, being able to lift your arms over your head. First, I ask you to consider an inner alignment, where you give yourself just a moment to push from the inside and fill your rib cage in every direction on all sides so that you have a support, an actual rib cage floating, a fullness for the center torso to lift and push so that the shoulders can actually be free. So instead of just flinging yourself through space, we never give cues in Bowstring where it's just move your arms. It's always move from a full place. So you stand in your center, get grounded, and then allow the ribs to expand on all sides in every direction, and then let the breath swell and the arms almost naturally float. Now, one more detail that we got to really kind of prioritize is actually the V vector of the arms. So instead of bringing the arms narrow and straight up, or instead of bringing them out and straight up, we split the difference. In that V vector direction, we move more like a 60-degree angle where the arms push forward and out, not so wide, that flattens the shoulders or the ribs, and not so narrow, that can actually shorten narrow the collarbones. But right in that sweet spot in the middle place, and as I'm pushing my arms forward, I'm making sure to fill my ribs into the back plane. And then I go up and I go up, and if I feel like there's any pressure in my shoulder, I adjust, I push the ribs even more, and then maybe I go up a little higher. But anymore, I'm not interested in really taking my arms up this high because I know that it pushes me into my pattern, which is hyperlordosis. So I've got to be really aware, because I'm just a flexible, I've had a lot of back bending in my life, so I've got to be really aware that that's not going to sustain me long term. I want to make sure that I'm pushing from the inside and making those everyday movements, the things that I want to be able to do until I'm 80, 90, 100 and beyond, with freedom in my joints. I'm doing them from the fullest alignment that I can bring every single day, every single time I come to the mat. Really, I'm not even coming to the mat anymore. I've let go of using my mat in my practice. Well, because I'm doing my practice all day long. But that's a whole different conversation for another day. Look out for the roots. I'll be talking about the legs and the hips in the next week or so. But give that a try in your classes this week, or even when you're just greeting the morning. Good morning, have a beautiful day, start with a full heart, and enjoy your practice, enjoy your body, and enjoy exploring something with a little bit more curiosity, a little bit more discernment, and a little bit more awareness that what you're doing today is going to affect the next few decades of your life. No big deal. I love you much, I care about your shoulders, I hope you do too. Enjoy this, let me know if you have questions. I'll talk to you soon, bye.